everyone. We're broadcasting from the Smart Mobility Summit 2019. We have over 3,000 industry professionals gathered these days in Tel Aviv. And here, behind the scenes, as a part of the EcoMotion community, GoTo is interviewing selected smart mobility experts. Now with me is Helen Buchumensky, Director of the Project Management Office at Karamba Security. Hi Helen, great to have you here.
Nice to meet you finally.
Yes. Helen, before we begin, I'd like to do a little play with you. I'll ask very fast questions and you please answer fast as well without thinking. I know it's hard.
I'll do my best.
Okay, train or plane, what do you choose?
Plane.
Swimming or running?
Swimming.
Car sharing or taxi?
Car sharing.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone for sure.
Amazon or AliExpress?
Amazon.
Elevator or stairs?
Stairs.
Which floor?
5. 5 is good. You can do
5 is perfect. Okay, Helen, the most burning question I have, what does Caramba stand for?
it. Okay, so Karamba, Karamba. Okay, so the name of our company is Karamba Security, and we have 4 co-founders, Tal, Asaf, David, and Ami. And I think this name just came up in some of their discussions. Asaf said, "Oh, Karamba," and they said, "Karamba." So it's nice because everyone asks what does Karamba means. We don't really have a good answer for that, but it sounds like you have a big problem and then some magic happen. So this is what we do.
Okay.
We solve big problems with some magic.
So what are the problems your company is focusing on exactly?
Okay, so Karamba is focusing on cybersecurity threats on the automotive industry. The threats are futuristic in some way because you can see them today in some research works and in some field research, but they will be in the future. So as the cars are developed today, our target is to protect them from the unknown threats, which will come in the future years.
Okay, this is very interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got to do what you do and what do you actually do in the company?
Okay, so I came to Karamba from Valens Semiconductor, which you also, I assume, have here. Valens is a very important player in the automotive today. I started to be their director of operations and then quality. And after that, I decided, okay, 10 years in one company, it's good enough. I started to search around and I found Karamba. And they came and suggested to me to be a program manager, which I haven't did before. I said, okay, it's nice. It's good to get out from your comfort zone. Let's try it. And actually, I really enjoyed it. I have a development team in Belarus, in Minsk.
Oh.
So this is for me, it's a good way to practice my Russian.
Right. Okay, so day to day, you're on a mission of doing what exactly?
Setting priorities, organizing the work. We have many customers today, many OEMs and tier ones. They have always changing requirements, changing needs. We have our team. We need to decide what the team should do. This is my responsibility.
This is you. I want to talk a little bit more about the autonomous vehicles and the possible unknown threats. So when I'm thinking about it, I'm a little bit scared. Well, actually, a lot scared.
You're right.
A
You
lot
should be.
because I imagine thinking as a hacker, all the vehicles are connected. I managed to hack into one, so all of them are mine, and I can do whatever the hell I want. So is this something you're working towards protecting us
We've
from?
seen the last Fast and Furious, right? With this scene with this awesome woman hacker who managed to control all the vehicles in Manhattan and caused a huge mess there. You're right, you should be scared. And actually, the challenge here is not only to detect the attack, to notice that something wrong happened, but also to prevent it. The main problem with preventing attacks in vehicles is the risk of false positives. Do you know what is false positives?
Please elaborate.
Okay. So, for example, imagine this for safety. Let's talk about safety. Imagine this very smart car which has a camera and LiDAR sensor and radar sensor, and it tries to find its way. And then, for example, it gets some signal from the camera and another signal from LiDAR. This can happen. And then it decided to stop because it feels that something bad happening. And then it stops and stops and stops. So this is a case where you have a false positive. When your car, your system thinks that this is an attack, but this is not a real attack. But in the terms of safety, a parking car is a safe car. But no one wants his car to be parked all the time. You don't get it for that. So the target is to reduce the number of the false positives to minimum. We in Karamba believe that the false positives need to be avoided at all. So if there is a virus, if there is a real attack, your system should be able to detect it deterministically and prevent it, and to stop it in this moment.
To stop this thing and not to stop the vehicle? Is that
yeah, exactly.
idea?
Not to stop, for example, your airbags, which try to save your lives, because it happens like rare, and our system thinks, okay, so this is rare, maybe this is a virus. So the way we are doing this in Karamba, we actually we harden the software before it goes to the vehicle, so all the control flow of the program will be known before, and only the allowed control flow will be able to execute it when your vehicle is on the way.
But I imagine when such a complex processing happens, it takes a lot of time. And from my understanding of the autonomous technology, the priority should be given to speed. The faster I make decisions as a car, the more smooth the ride I can provide to the passenger. So
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And in theory or in the university or in many our studies, usually getting control flow integrity on the runtime, it takes lots of resources, and it wasn't efficient. We in Karamba managed to do this small magic which I told you about, and we make it quite efficient in the studies which we published together with Denso, for example. We show that we actually impact less than 5% of performance, which is good, which is really good.
Okay. Tell me, there's a lot of players these days in the field of autonomous vehicles. There are bigger players, like huge players such as car manufacturers. There are like medium-sized players such as software companies. There are even smaller startups. And basically, can you tell who is best positioned to deliver the technology? Because it's not a simple, project. There are lots of complex technologies involved, and they all have to work together. So what do you think is going to happen? Like, who's going to win the fight?
It's a tricky question. So let me ask you, how you know that the car you're buying is a safe car?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was thinking about it myself. So safety, I'm thinking Volvo because of the branding. That's the thing they've been always selling and pushing. So that's how I know. But then, I trust some regulations. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good answer, because for safety, we have this 5 stars of safety, and before the car gets out to the field, to the road, it passes many crash tests. So you can check this crash test, and they're always published, and then you can know if the car is safe or not safe. So for cybersecurity, it's like a future of safety. And for cybersecurity, there are the regulations which will define what to do are currently in the development, should be published next year. There is a very important standard by ISO for cybersecurity for the automotive, which should be published next year, and we can refer to it. Unfortunately, I don't think today you can know which car manufacturer has the best system to protect against cyber attacks. But you will know in future, as in the same way, like you ask yourself before you buy a new car, if this car is safe enough, is it good for you and your family, you will ask yourself if this car is protected against cyber attacks or not. This will come in few next years.
But as a user, would I need a special education to make up the judgment? Because, car safety in terms of hardware is one thing, and safety in terms of cyber attacks, what do I know about them even?
I think you will have you have 5 stars for safety, you will have similar rating for cybersecurity. But the problem with cybersecurity is that safety you can test when the car is ready before it goes to the road. You can crash it and you can test it. Right. You cannot really test cybersecurity because cybersecurity protects against unknown threats. We may know about this threat in few years. So it's quite tricky how to test. One of the big questions, how you really test it. Because even today, what people do, they give their vehicles to hackers and tell them, attack our cars. Tesla published some invitation. Exactly. But they will test in the way they can test today, not in the way they will be able to test in 5 years.
Right.
So it is very interesting industry.
And in Caramba's vision, who is the authority giving out those 5-star certificate? Is it some like Michelin of cars, you know?
Today there are many committees who are working to do it, and this is one of the most important aspects to discuss. This summer I presented in a safety conference by VDA, which is the German automotive industry council, and they talked about how they currently don't fully understand how to deal with the cybersecurity of the software. While the safety is fully defined with many standards like functional safety, what to do with cybersecurity? So this is currently in very, very intensive development, and I believe that the ISO, the NIST, the VDA, our regulation bodies, they are working today to define that. I also see it in, for example, import-export regulations. There are new regulations by UNICE. To get your vehicle to the Europe in the few years, you will need to fill like some questionnaire about your cybersecurity in the vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So this is really coming.
Okay, very interesting. When we're talking about what you guys are working on right now, so what are the challenges? What is like the challenge you guys are tackling these days?
I think there are many challenges, basically because of the uncertainty. No one knows what will be in the next years, so we'll try to plan. My biggest challenge as a program manager is to plan the priorities correctly, because you always, automotive industry is a very long-run industry. It takes time before things are done, before the software goes to the product, before your vehicles goes to the market. So it's always very difficult to plan what to do today to support the future needs and how to support your current customers with the needs today. So it's like a balancing between today and tomorrow is one of my biggest challenges today.
Interesting. So I want to understand better the vision of Caramba in terms of like the autonomous. We hear different things. Some say that by 2022, there's going to be like a lot of autonomous vehicles on the roads running by themselves. Some say no, like in the next 5 years or 10 years, we're not going to see anything like that. So what do you guys believe in based on your experience, based on your interactions with car manufacturers and other market players?
Okay, so we are Israeli company and we don't have one opinion. We have many opinions. I can share I think it will take us around 10 years. I thought, if I remember, like 5 years before, people said like it will come much faster. I think it will take time, especially because of this safety risks. Because of these false positives, which are currently we need to think how to deal with them, not only in the terms of cybersecurity, but also in terms of safety. So I think it will take to the industry some years to get to the level 5 of the autonomous. But as you know, today we have like prototypes by Yandex, by Mobileye, by our companies in many places in the world, Uber. But it will take time.
So level 5, how do you define it exactly? So I understand that level 1 is already there. It's like ADAS systems, right? The assistants that help us, drive the vehicle on a highway, right? So and then comes level 2, 3. Maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, level. I don't really remember that. Don't see that in front of me. Level 5 is the fully autonomous. Level when the driver is actually unneeded, then you maybe won't have a seat for the driver in your car. But level 4 is then driver can solve some problems. Currently we have, of course, we have solutions for level 1 or 2. Like for example, BMW has this awesome feature to enable remote parking of your car. So you can get out from your car, you can press a button and it will park. So imagine what hacker can do with these capabilities, right?
No, tell me what.
It can manipulate. I can use the connection between the remote control and the car as an attack vector to get to your vehicle and not to park it, to crash it, to take it somewhere, or maybe to lock it so you won't be able to use it. So imagine that you are like have a fleet in your company or a big company like, I don't know, Google or Facebook, and all your fancy employees have their leasing cars, and I want to threat you, so I just lock their parking controller and they cannot access the car, for example, and they cannot come to the work. How much money we will lose? So I can ask you to pay me this money. So I will.
A lot of fun. Tell me, your solution is already deployed at some systems, right?
Yes.
Tell me, do you encounter any real attacks, or all of those are simulations?
I cannot share. Unfortunately, I cannot share this. This is quite confidential. But
Okay.
this is interesting.
Okay, so I got to an interesting point. I see. Do you, again, back to your vision of the future world, do you believe there are countries that are going to be first ones? I heard, like, for example, in Arab Emirates, they're building smart cities from the get-go. So they are already planning the cities for the autonomous. So are there like other examples like that you know of, like that you're like cities that you're talking to?
I know about all these projects in some industry zones in Moscow, of course, Sokolovo, and also we know about the cars in Israel and in Jerusalem that are pilots by Mobileye. And I really hope that Israel is, I think it's a good ground, don't you think so? Let's bring them
It's
here.
great.
With all these crazy drivers, I think the risk of the some traffic incident done by autonomous car is much more reduced in Israel when not people will drive but the computers.
Tell me, you mentioned some research that Caramba is doing. Are you partnering with maybe like you could talk a little more about how the work is structured in your company. How big are you, and like what are the priorities that you're setting?
Okay, Karamba is, we are around 40 employees worldwide. We have a R&D center and headquarters here in Israel in Hod Sharon. And also we have a R&D center in Minsk in Belarus. And we have our teams in Germany, in Japan, and of course USA, in many countries. And we partner with many OEMs. Unfortunately, I cannot publish their names, but because no one, not all of them want to publish that they have this cyber protects, but we work with many OEMs and many tier ones, and we always work with customers. So half of my job is to work and to talk with customers and on mutual projects which we do with them, and the other half is to work internally with the employees. So with customers, we sometimes start with some of kind of POC project, proof of concept, where we present our technology and we integrate it on their system. Many of the systems are in the very early development stage. They can be even like planned for like 3 years, 5 years from today. And we are working with their advanced engineering teams or R&D teams to see how this protection can be applied to their system, protecting them from cyber attacks and with no compromising to the functionality, the false positives, and without also having minimum impact on the resources. So you're right, we need to ensure that the CPU impact is minimal, so the car will be efficient, the decisions will be fast. So we checked all of that. And when the customer is convinced that this technology can work for him, we are starting the integration into production project. When we do more stabilizations and optimization to the specific system, do some different tests like security tests, penetration tests, check the solution, and we can go to the market.
That sounds very interesting. Okay, Helen, thanks so much for being here with us. And like anything, like a piece of wisdom that you'd like to share or something for the final words.
I didn't prepare that. I think we need to do what we believe in it. And like Gandhi, there is this famous saying that people say that Gandhi said. I don't think it's Gandhi, but be the change you wish to see in the world. Just do the things you believe. I think the future of the automotive is exciting, and I'm so glad and so happy to be part of that. So I'm here.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Katya.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.